With the recent release of Trolls Band Together, it's time to discuss how that film fits into the DreamWorks Theory. And I must say, it changes everything we know about this world and how Trolls interconnects to it. So welcome to Big Flick Energy, and let's get right into it. So the Trolls Band Together, Poppy discovers that Branch and his four brothers were once part of her favorite boy band. When one of his siblings, Floyd, gets kidnapped by a pair of nefarious villains, Branch and Poppy embark on a harrowing and emotional journey to reunite the other brothers and rescue Floyd from a fate even worse than pop culture obscurity. The last time I mentioned Trolls' role in this world, I mentioned how in this franchise, we see the society of the Trolls that is based solely on music. The world appears very uninterrupted by human life, so it can easily take place between Croods and Shrek to show some of the mystical creatures that live on the other side of the mountain or just around the world that hasn't been discovered yet. Trolls Band Together and even Trolls World Tour to an extent break that as this film's role. I don't think these troll films actually take place on Earth at all, and rather think they all take place on an entirely separate world. Now this sounds like a cheap solution just to make sure it still fits in this world, but let me explain. For starters, we've already seen so much of this world that it wouldn't make sense for all the technology had in the past in the Trolls movies to now be in this world. It doesn't make sense why in Shrek all that technology would be gone, How to Train Your Dragon, all that tech is gone. Yes, it takes place in a different part of the world, but we've seen the way that they can travel in Trolls World Tour, and it does not make sense for it to be at that scale without it being in a different world. Now, the animals being so different from what we have on Earth isn't an issue, and to me, the only issue is the tech. But I do believe one character can make this musical world make sense. President Hathaway from Monsters vs. Aliens. In a world led by tech-savvy creatures who run the entire world on music, it's entirely possible that Hathaway, a man whose presidency was riddled in secrets of knowledge of monsters and aliens, knew of this troll planet and the race of aliens, or trolls, which led to his ridiculous act of playing the electric keyboard when Galaxar's ship arrived on Earth, using it as a form of peace, but with no backup plan outside of the military itself. I mean, let's be honest, if the Trolls saw President Hathaway rocking the electric keyboard, they would have started singing on the beat. It makes sense given if that's all he knows about aliens, that they are musical creatures, that would be his first instinct to approach them. Also, I personally don't think a president could be that idiotic and the military and the rest of the government allow him to play the electric keyboard without there being any foundation as to why he played. So I would actually place the Trolls franchise around after Madagascar A Little Wild and right before Home, as Home shows another vibrant alien species similar to what we just established in Trolls and that entire franchise. Honestly, Trolls can take place at any time before Monsters vs. Aliens, but for watch order and how the story connects to the world as a whole, it makes more sense to place the Trolls franchise at this time period. So now the story goes that we first learned our world is not alone and there are aliens surrounding us in 3 Below. But since the events of that show were erased from history based off the end of the Troll Hunters movie, only we know of these aliens, not the world that we're watching. But we eventually do get to explore one of the foreign worlds by watching the Trolls franchise, showing a musical world that closes out with the newly released Trolls Band Together. This carries over to another vibrant alien race in the film Home, where an alien invasion on Earth occurs, leading into the US government putting together a team of mystical creatures, otherwise known as monsters, that they have been collecting for generations to study them and use them as a task force for taking on any extraterrestrial threats. One of these threats arrives in this movie, and because the US government knows little about aliens outside of research of the planet of the Trolls, and their form of communication and peace being through music, the president plays the electric keyboard for the villainous alien race, which sadly did not work. I could go on with what happens next, but that's up to you guys to check my old DreamWorks Theory video on that. And pretty much the only thing that's changing from that previous video is the location of the Trolls franchise, where it's no longer right before Shrek, instead it is right before Home. So I will also say there were no Easter eggs to other films here, so that removes one possible connection point between different films, but I do think President Hathaway's playing of the piano to elements might have to do a lot with the Trolls world and just their entire franchise. So thank you for watching Big Flick Energy. Please comment down below if you agree this is how Trolls Band Together fits in this world, or if you have any other ideas or questions related to this world or this film's role in it. Eventually, I will make a video on the Aardman films, how they fit in the DreamWorks world, so keep in tune for that. But for now, please like and subscribe, and see you all next time on Big Flick Energy.